Don't be deceived. Behind that flashy logo and rocking iconic theme song, Power Rangers the movie on SNES is a lie, a deceiver, an imposter, and I'm here to prove it. Released in 1995 by Natsume as one of 4 games to fall under the Power Rangers the movie banner, it is my theory that unlike the other movie titles that arguably started out as Season 2 Power Ranger games before being transformed into movie titles, check out my evidence on those if you haven't already, the SNES version was never actually intended to be a Power Rangers game in the first place, and was only repurposed into one because, hey, that cash cow needed milking. But I can already deduce what many of you are thinking. The game's got Power Rangers in it, it's got putties, it's got monsters. What else could it be other than a Power Rangers game? And you know what? You're not wrong. But I couldn't blame anyone for being fooled. The game starts out strong, with an amazing theme song that hits hard. And even moments into the game, things are looking pretty good as each character gets a 90s style intro. Detectives! What are you doing? Don't let the bells and whistles distract you. You've already missed an important clue. Get back here. Just take a quick look at this. The game hasn't even started yet, and something is already amiss. Right here at the opening screen, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, featuring Ivan Ooze. Really? It's featuring Ivan Ooze. The game, based on the movie, where Ivan Ooze is the main villain, features him. And look, I made another discovery. TMNT Shredder's Revenge features Shredder. Almost missed that one. So for anyone new to classic Power Rangers, the standard formula of each episode was basically just this. Teens fight the basic foot soldiers, monster shows up, they morph into the Power Rangers, and finish with a giant robot fight. Good stuff. And the movie mostly follows that formula too. The game, however, only gets about halfway, which is kinda fishy. Like its predecessor, the SNES version of Power Rangers the movie is a side-scrolling beat-em-up, similar to games like Altered Beast. You move to the right and hi-ya and hi-ya, anything in your way. Pretty simple. Though, in a nice upgrade, they added co-op. Awesome. Also, this time around, all 6 Rangers are present and accounted for. That's right, fan favorite Tommy Oliver is here. So already, it's a step up from the previous Nintendo titles, and just like in said titles, you start out in your civilian mode, as these teenagers with attitude all look great. Bright and colorful, sporting their signature colors, though, wow, they did Billy dirty. Here you go, devs. Clearly, you need this more. Despite their looks, all of the Rangers play the same. Sort of. They all have a standard attack, jump attack, crouch attack, and special. The differences between them are really just nuanced at best. Like how Tommy has a jump punch, where Rocky has a jump kick, or how Aisha's crouch attack hits both sides. Though none of it's really different enough to merit trying every single stage with every character to find like the most optimized strategy, though the option is there. Glancing down at the bottom, you'll find your power meter, which you fill by collecting lightning bolts. Draining some of that power allows you to use each Ranger's special attack, arguably the biggest difference between them all. But if instead you choose to save it and max it out,
let's do it, guys! Right. It's morphin' time!
Tyrannosaurus! Mastodon!
Which completely nukes the nuances between the Rangers, aka they all basically become the same character. Goodbye, special moves. But damn, look at them! They are getting swole! As a Ranger, you hit harder, you get full health, and if you can max out the bar again, you can use your weapon for a limited time as well as unleash a super move, which definitely seems like the best way to go. However, there's definitely some underlying strategy involved in when, or if you choose to morph early on, that may or may not break whether or not you reach our featured villain. Though, no matter what you do, you will automatically morph once you get to the boss stage. But, back up a second, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Because before we even reach those bosses, we gotta take a closer look at these stages, as they are a huge part of what makes up this game's identity, as well as holds its biggest gimmick. And I suspect we'll find some clues there too. So what really makes the SNES Power Rangers movie game stand out, and not just among Power Ranger titles, but most games in general, is the ability to move between the foreground and the background at will. Basically, it's a two-plane side-scroller, and it really makes use of that concept. Enemies can come from either side of either plane, as well as jump from one plane to the other in order to ambush you. Certain obstacles are lane specific, and sometimes the game will actively funnel you down one path. Though how a basic chain link fence can block someone using weapons that shoot lasers is anyone's guess.
Power up! Fire!
Though it's not just about controlling how you progress. You can also take advantage of the setup as well, positioning yourself on different sides of enemies, avoiding obstacles, goddamn Angel Grove drivers, and you can even use it to give yourself some breathing room, which is much appreciated, as the movement is a tad bit stiff, so you'll probably find yourself taking more hits than you'd really expect to. But it's more of a minor inconvenience than it is a real deal breaker. And as far as the dual plane mechanics go, I've actually heard a lot of people complain about it. Often complaining, why can't you just move around freely like more traditional beat 'em ups, say like Final Fight or this game's Sega counterpart? To which I say, why would you want that? There are so many, and I mean so many arcade-style beat-em-ups, and really only a handful of games with this unique style. Guardian Heroes, Code of Princess, and Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds are the only ones that I know of, and Power Rangers might have actually been the first to do it. Though, as cool as this mechanic is, and I will defend it, I'm sure that the more eagle-eyed among you have probably noticed the stages themselves are kind of off. And arguably are the biggest tip-off that something just isn't right here. But before we delve into the nitty-gritty, I just want to point out that I love the way this game looks and sounds. Bright, colorful, and actually has a very cartoony vibe to it, despite Power Rangers itself being, live action. But I do need to mention that the game suffers from some major slowdown at times, mostly during the river stage. Not a real deal breaker, but it needs to be said. And the music rocks, and is super fitting for an action title. Though, unlike its Sega counterpart, none of the music is from the show, excluding the opening theme. But that's okay, it still works. So just getting started, we could reasonably make an argument for the mall stage as level 1. These are teenagers with attitude after all.
How do you do, fellow kids?
But at no point do the Rangers ride a speedboat to infiltrate an air carrier, or go snowboarding down a mountain into a river.
Threw one of them off a mountain, one into a raging river.
That doesn't count! They've also never hi-ya'd a train to death before, though that would be cool. And they've definitely never busted into a military base jam-packed with conveyor belts and giant crushy things straight out of Battletoads. And does anyone, seriously, anyone remember the time the Rangers stormed a freaking missile silo? But wait, look. The missiles have Lord Zed's logo on them, so it checks out. Though, looking back, a lot of things in this game arbitrarily have Zed's logo plastered all over them. Obviously, these stages were meant for a completely different game that was probably in production and ended up just getting recycled to meet a deadline. And the same could be said for the enemies, which, even if we completely ignore all of the blatantly not Power Ranger baddies, don't even need this! What the hell is Mother Brain doing here? The ones that are from Power Rangers, aka the putties, enemies from the show, not the movie mind you, don't exactly fit the mold either. Tell me, someone please tell me, where in Power Rangers there are putties with energy swords? Or better yet, putties with Second Amendment rights. Oh man, these sure do look like poses I'd expect to see from enemy soldiers. And even if we look at our featured headliner, his moveset doesn't exactly fit what we see in the movie. Plus, we don't even get to close out with a Zord fight to round out the formula. Not that it stops the game from just taunting us with what could have been. So, I think it's pretty obvious that this is a terrible, terrible Power Rangers game. But, that doesn't make it a bad non-Power Rangers game.
Who are you?
Ignoring all of the Power Ranger elements, like, you know, all 10 sprites of them, and instead just viewing it as another cool action game on the SNES, the game shines in a much better light. This game, despite its annoying stiffness with the movement, is actually a really fun co-op platformer, rocking a really neat gimmick that offers up a pretty solid challenge. It's easily the hardest of the lot, with co-op not always making it easier. Yashir continues. So, you'd best bring your game face if you really want to challenge this faker.
You may be an imposter, you may not be a true Power Rangers game at heart, but that doesn't make you bad.